Hey, Nicole, how are you?
I am alive. No, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, but you're what is this, round two, round three? How many
round
rounds of COVID is this for you?
round two. We got it last holidays, leading into 22, and now the whole family got it again.
Ah,
So
man,
darn, darn teenagers bringing everything in. That's the culprit.
how did little baby Savannah do with it?
Um,
Did she
you
get
know,
it?
yeah, she did. A rough couple of days of just, congestion and a little low grade fever. It was the first time she was sick, so no fun. She didn't get a lot of sleep. I didn't get a lot of sleep. That was really not fun. Like,
That's
poor
crazy.
baby. She was miserable.
And then we're making you do a podcast to talk about real estate while you got COVID brain. This is
Oh my
perfect.
gosh. I'm kind of in a fog, but I brushed my hair. I brushed my hair. I put on some stuff on my face, just, make myself look kind of presentable if anyone's watching on YouTube.
You look fantastic. Yes, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that I'm telling the truth. And if you're listening, just so you know, Nicole is glowing.
Yes,
Glowing,
that is where the ring light comes in handy, I gotta say. I gotta say, I wish I could carry the ring light with me everywhere.
right?
It's just
Yeah.
so much better.
Whenever you
And
have to make an important point, you turn that light on.
turn
Yeah.
it on, and and then I need like a fan. I'd like to blow the hair back. And then the nice thing is on the camera setting, you can kind of have a little bit of you know, a smoothing out effect.
Smooth it out. I'll go one step further. I want theme music. I want theme music to follow me. Like when I make a point, I want like that thing from the TV show da-dum from Law and Order. I want to say this is our highest and best. Da-dum.
Okay, that is a weird theme music. That's not really theme music. That's like a for emphasis, right?
Well, but yeah, it would be like the exclamation point whenever I say something. Like if I call it, when I would tell Eli to clean his room, it'd be like, Eli, your room's dirty, clean it up. Da-dum.
You don't want it to be like I thought you would like bum bum bum.
Well, that would work too. Or when I walk into the house after work, it'd be like because I'm always so playful and cheerful. No. All right,
All
look,
right.
look. That enough of that. Enough of that. Yeah, we're getting this. All right. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the Real Agents Podcast. This is our weekly podcast where our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to talk about life, real estate, and everything in between. So, if you like your advice and insights shaken and not stirred, that's right. Well, then this is the podcast for you.
I'm Nicole Dash.
And I'm Eric Harrington, and we
We
are
are
the
the
Real
real
Agents.
agents. Nice.
I think we finally nailed one. I
I
think
think
that was it.
so. I think so. So Eric, where are you filming today? Are we talking about that?
This looks different, doesn't it? I know it's
I know
fuzzy.
it's blurry,
Yeah.
but you're not at home.
I am in our fearless leader's lair. I'm in Jen's office. Isn't that
Ooh,
cool?
he
I've
does
gone through
not
everything.
know.
I've gone through that. I've gone through the desks. I read your employment file. Ooh, we got
Uh-oh.
stuff we got to talk about.
That's what happens if you go on a 6 month sabbatical. All of a sudden, your office becomes a podcast office.
Listen, you bring up an interesting point. What's a sabbatical?
Um, a break, a
Look,
break.
I know when I went to rehab, I told everybody I was on sabbatical.
He's
No, I've never been to rehab.
It's more than a vacation, right? I don't know. We got to look it up. I know sabbaticals are big in certain fields, like in the education field, they do sabbaticals, like
Yeah.
professors do
Okay, that makes
sabbaticals.
sense. It's like when you get to a point where you're fed up and you're banging your head against the wall and you're either going to quit or retire, you take a sabbatical to recharge your batteries.
I
Is that
think
how that
well,
works?
well, I think like in the university world, like a professor might take a sabbatical to write a book or do
Oh,
research for whatever subject it is that they're teaching. I think that's the purpose of it. It's not supposed to be like I'm taking a vacation, but but I don't know. I mean, it sounds amazing what he's doing. Jin is one of our the two main, owners of
Yeah,
our
one of our
company,
principal owners. Yeah.
right? The principal owners. And he is going to be doing some mission trips and some really important traveling as well, things that he's put off in order to build this business. So I think it's awesome.
And it's well deserved. I make fun. And I'm not suggesting that he's going to rehab. And no, I've never been to rehab. So that was a really bad joke. But no, I think he's taking some necessary time to devote some time to his family and his wife and just doing some things he's probably put off for years. And yeah, I applaud him for that. That's going to be awesome. I'm kind of jealous.
I am jealous. I'm jealous. Like, it's great. So instead of having to wait till you retire, enjoy some of the time that you've built up now. I mean, it's really hard, as we know in real estate. You're on, without the glory of being a doctor, we've got like doctor on call hours. It's like, we're not saving lives, yet we're getting that 10 p.m. Sunday night call all the time. What is that?
I was texting a client at 11:30 the other night, and as I'm doing it, I was thinking, what am I doing? Why am I fostering this bad behavior as I'm replying to a text at 11:30? Yeah, we keep some crazy hours. It's not
so
right.
hard. It's so hard. I actually was talking to an agent. So we were about to accept an offer on a property, and we had been negotiating this offer for like 2 or 3 days, and we happened to have one more showing, right? The showing was like at 6:15 on a Sunday. And my client, of course, is like, well, before I hit accept, do you mind just asking if they're interested or not? And I was like, ugh. So then because when you spent all that time negotiating, right?
Yes.
And you basically have had a handshake deal, right? But you've already kind of come to it, and it's in their box, and all they have to do is click, and we're ratified. And then they're like, well, do you mind just making sure? I want to be able to sleep tonight knowing there's nothing else out there. So I text the agent, because that's my job. I represent my client. Yes. That's what she wants. I have to, whether I don't want to or not. And so then I text, and I'm like, hey, just wanted to see any chance you're interested in submitting an offer before we accept the one we have in hand. Like, that was how I wrote it. And he writes back an emoji with like the hand slap. And he's like, yes, actually we are. No. So yes. So then he calls me and we talk, and it was just such a crazy position to be in.
Was it the winning offer?
Yes, it would have been
It was?
It would have been, but the terms they wanted to offer us would have been the winning offer.
Yeah.
I had to call my client and explain verbally like what he told me, what they wanted. She was like, yes, this is it. This is it. And I was like, oh, why don't we I said, I gave him a 10 a.m. deadline so we can wait through the night, because it was already late.
Yeah.
And wait through the night, see. And 10 a.m. he called me right on the dot, to his credit. And he said, we decided not to write after all. So I called, but the joke was, he texted me and he said, I feel like I have 7-Eleven worker hours because it was at that point, it was pretty late on a Sunday, and he was having to like scrounge to get everything together to what he wrote the offer. His client in the morning decided not to sign it. So he worked the night shift to get that together, but it didn't work. So we ended up ratifying with the one we had been negotiating for 3 days, which made me feel better anyway, because of just like, you put yourself out there to negotiate with another agent, and you get there. And so you want to see it all come together, but at the same time, you want the best offer for your client. So, my client was like, do we try and renegotiate? I said, no, we accept the one that we came to agreement on now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bird in the hand.
Yes.
You don't want to go back and piss them off. I've been on the other side of that. I've done exactly what that client had to do, what that agent had to do at a last minute offer. I've got a weird rule. Every time I've written an offer before we've like put the final stamp. This is what we want to do. Like anytime I said, I'm going to get out in front of this because I know my clients are going to want to do this tomorrow. Anytime I've done that, it hasn't worked out.
It doesn't work. You can't do it in advance.
Something's wrong. No, and we end up not submitting the offer. It's like I get bad juju or something weird. So I have this rule where I can't start the offer until I know for sure that we're going to write it. Now, writing an offer takes about an hour. And when you're up against that deadline, like if the deadline's at noon and we haven't nailed it by 11, I'm up against it, but I got to stick to my rules. I'm not starting it until I know for sure because something happens. And if that agent wouldn't have wrote that offer, it would have worked out.
It might have worked out. But I mean, it's just interesting because when you're, a lot of times I know buyers get really upset, right? Have you ever been negotiating back and forth, basically thought you had it, and then last second someone came and swooped in?
That happens all the time. Yes. I wrote an offer this weekend, and I wrote it yesterday, as a matter of fact. I'm sorry, yesterday. Well, no one knows when we're doing this, but anyway, I just got a text before we started. It said, are your folks willing to negotiate price? I've got another offer coming in. And it's like, come on, this house has been on the market for 110 days, something like that. And it just so happens when we put our offer in, there's another offer on the way in. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. Well, could be.
And that's just it. It could be. Yes. I'm not calling this person a liar. It's just
this market is crazy.
The nature of things. Yes.
It's, and I personally, just for my own like ethical, right. This is where I hate being like that person. Once I've said, okay, we're back and forth, and we finally get there, right? And then, or minutes from ratifying, the fact that I had to pause and be like, any chances one random person who came on a Sunday night to see it was a Monday. It was after the whole weekend, second weekend. I was like, the odds are it's not a serious buyer. And it turned out not to be, even though for a minute we thought it might be. So
anyway. I can tell you that I always anticipate that another offer is going to come in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we like this one it's 120 something days on market. We write a really competitive offer. I mean, yes, we're asking for a little bit of discount because of days on market and, some of the circumstances with the house. But I always tell my folks, if you like it enough to write on it, there's probably someone else out there who feels the same way. And I know that once an offer is submitted, it's your job as the listing agent to probably market that offer to those other people who were circling. So, you always tell them to be prepared that another offer may come in just now. And it's not always, the luck of the draw that another offer shows up at exactly the same time your offer does. It's the agents doing their jobs and trying to get the best for their client.
I mean, that's the whole thing. And a lot of times it's that game of chicken. It's like, who's going to be the first buyer to go ahead and put their offer in? And you get the buyer agents calling, do you have any offers? Is it still available? Do you have any offers? And I'm like, we will as soon as you submit it. Submit your offer and we will. Because then you're right. I mean, then that's my job to go to all the people circling, be like, well, we got an offer in. There's definitely room for you. Hint, nudge.
we were joking around when I mentioned that to one of our colleagues here. He said, I think in listing agent class, they make you guys practice saying, well, there's another offer that's on the way. So if you're going to adjust, you should do it now. So is that a thing? Did they teach you that in listing agent class?
No, but I definitely will say, I just got off the phone with someone and an offer is about to come in. Yeah, I do say that. I do say it. I'm like, just it's not in hand yet, but it sounds like it's gonna be a good one.
And that's fair. That's fair.
But I don't
anyone who's seeing the house is potential. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But honestly, I will only say it if it's true. I'm ethical in that way. I don't know. I can't speak for everyone, all listing agents out there, if that's just like what they say to stir and to get things going. But I actually will not say it unless I've had at least one conversation with someone who says that.
Another one that gets me, and this gets back to the ethics of the whole thing, is when an agent tells you that they've got an offer at a certain price. I just use round numbers. The house is selling for $1 million, and during your conversation, you tell them that my folks like the house, but we feel it's a little overpriced. And some agents will say, well, I've already got one that's above the asking price. Now, right. I typically take agents at their word, because if you're lying about it, you could scare me away, and now you don't get an offer, Exactly. So I don't know if I'm naive in that regard. Should I believe them?
No,
or
I mean,
should
you're
I
not
always
supposed
like? Hello, agents. Remember, your mission is to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to check us out on Anchor, Spotify, soon to be Apple Music, and anywhere else you can plug us into your ear holes. Check us out. We're here for you. And we're back. Oh, now we're back. All right.
Now we're back.
I guess we had a little bit of technical difficulties and I froze. Much better than that.
That was you were conning us. You weren't really.
I know. I faked out our producer. He was like, it happened
again. So you were saying?
Yeah, it was when I was talking about dishonest agents.
Never.
No, what I was saying is that I always believe that what an agent's telling me is true, because if they're trying to be deceitful, they could scare me away. If I say, we're planning on coming in, but we're probably not going to meet your price, and they say, well, we absolutely have an offer in hand that is above the asking price. Well, why should I write? If we know we're not going to come in at the asking price, what's the point? And I always believe that they're telling the truth, because I think that they think that way too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I try really hard always to tell the truth. Of course, you can try and if you have only one offer and it's not a great offer, I'm not going to say it's not a great offer, right? I may say there's definitely room for improvement, but I'm not going to be like, it's 50,000 under. You could get it for 30,000 under, right? I'm not going to say that's way too honest, but I'm definitely will not lie about how much higher something is, just because what if you write an offer that has an escalation, and then I have to show proof of that offer that escalated it, right? It's the same sort of thing. You can't, your ethics are all that someone has, in my mind. And that's in life, not just in real estate. So, your ability to be honest, be true, you can still represent your clients well and get a good deal and negotiate strong without lying. Unfortunately, not everyone may feel the same, because not everyone is the same. But for me, that's important.
It's like I said, I give everyone the same amount of rope when I deal with them the first time, but then you do see those folks that are a little bit shady. I mean, I run into them all the time. And agents that I question what they're telling me, and but then you just handle those agents differently. Right. You know what to expect when you know that this person probably isn't giving you, I don't want to say correct information, because I don't want to call anybody out for blatantly lying, but there are folks that will go a step further than what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, I've had those instances where they said that, we've got this fantastic offer in hand, so we included the escalation clause. That was a perfect example. And then, oddly enough, you get this call later on where they say, hey, we want to not use the escalation clause. Would you just agree to this price?
Right.
So then, there's something shady there. Escalation clause aren't that hard to work. I mean, they're pretty simple. The machinations of including an escalation clause isn't something crazy. Right. But for some reason, some agents make it out to be like the most difficult way to process this contract. No, it's not. So those are the ones where I think, yeah, you probably weren't being as honest, and you don't want to disclose that you didn't have something great.
Right.
So with those, I usually push back a little bit too.
Yeah, because I mean, well, so here's the thing, the plus and the minus of the escalation, right? If someone gives you an escalation, then they're saying, for those who don't know what an escalation clause is, right? Okay, so you're saying that you're willing to offer a price up to a cap in a certain amount of increments. So 10,000 above asking in $1,000 increments, 1,000 higher than the next best price, right?
Yep.
Simple.
Yep.
So the problem with the escalation clause as a listing agent is that it's just a prescribed number. So, let's say we have two offers. One is 3,000 over asking, and then you got this escalation. They're willing to go 10,000 above, but really you're only at 4,000 above asking with this example. So it just doesn't feel like that much more of a win. So in that case, then you would go back and be like, listen, you technically are the winner with the escalation clause. However, we don't think it's actually that much better of an offer than the next one. You guys are almost exactly the same. If you can just go ahead and increase it by 5,000 halfway to your cap and get rid of the escalation, you have a deal. Like, that's the way to handle it. I don't think that's dishonest. But when you're like, it's just too complicated, let's just get rid of the escalation, so I can see both sides of what you're saying.
And I can too. And I've had instances where, they've been very transparent about wanting to remove the escalation clause and provided the information that the escalation clause mandates you provide in an effort to just fix what you were talking about. Give us XYZ. Here's why, and here's the other offer. So we know we're going to work with you, but here's why we're justifying what we're doing, and take the escalation out. I love transparency. That's the bottom line. Just be honest. Just be honest, be open. Let's have open communication, because that's going to make the whole process nice and easy. You know what I mean? When you're constantly wondering if people are being honest with you, it makes the transaction just trash.
Well, and be kind, right? I mean, okay, I'm going to give you a quick story of what happened this weekend with another agent, since we're going down this whole thing.
Please.
So had an issue where I got one of my houses are on the market, had an agent who had scheduled a showing at 3:00, sent me a picture, and it was like the 1 minute I had my phone away from me, right? I'm living with this phone, but have a sick baby. So the phone was like away from me for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Grab my phone. Probably it was like 3:15 at this point. So, and she had written it probably at 2:50. And she said, I arrived for my appointment, took a picture. Key was in the door. Door was wide open. Lockbox closed. This is how I found it. And is there an open house? ? And so then I saw it. I was like, oh. I wrote back quickly. I was like, no, I don't know what's going on. Please make sure you lock the key and close the door. She didn't reply right away. So then I called her. She answers. And I was like, thank you for sending me the picture. Can you please make sure you close the door? Are you still at the property? And she's like, no, I'm not at the property anymore. And I left it the way I found it. You're the listing agent. It's your responsibility. And she hung up on me. And I was like, whoa. Whoa. I was not expecting that reaction, because how can you be so rude to someone else? We're all in this business. Things like keys left open, whatever, that can happen. But if you're leaving the house, you don't leave it open, even if you found it that way, right? No one else was in the property. So it is kind of your responsibility to lock it up after yourself, even if you didn't leave it that way to start. And that's the first point. Second point, why would you just hang up on me and be so rude when I'm just trying to solve a problem? So I don't know. What do you think? Like, I think
that person was a fool. Absolutely. They don't know. Look, obviously they didn't want to write on the house, because if they wanted to write on the house,
and that was done.
But what about the next one that you're the listing agent on? You don't think you're not going to remember that this was the person who was rude to you?
Yeah.
Come on.
Exactly.
I've been in similar situations where, you get there and it's obvious that the person that was there before you did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And you fix it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I've gone to houses where the water was running, and yeah, there's that rule, you leave it like you found it. But am I really going to leave the water running? Come on.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just simple. Am I going to leave the key in the front door? No, you're going to take the key out. You're going to lock it.
Right.
I mean, it's everyone who should be able to get into the house can get in through the lockbox. So why wouldn't you put the key back? Doesn't make it
exactly.
that person was being difficult for difficulty's sake. That's
yes. It was a weird line in the sand she was drawing, and then she just was very rude. And I texted her. I was like, "That was very unprofessional." And she just wrote back, "I'm with a client." That's it. So, okay, fine. You're with a client.
So that absolves you from being a jerk. Okay, I get it.
That's fine. I called someone to help me out because I was like dead on my bed with COVID and a sick baby. So I called someone to quickly go over there and lock the door for me and put it in the lockbox, and all's well. It was not, a horrible situation. It was solved easily. But that one extra step of just oh, I'm so sorry, or oh, I wasn't sure what to do. I left it unlocked. I'm not going to yell at you for doing that. It would have been nice had you locked it. I feel like you could have helped me out, but that's okay. It's not your obligation. You don't want it to be, fine, but don't hang up on someone. It's rude.
Look, and there's a lot of agents in our area. I get that. Mm-hmm. But the chances of you having to work with this person again are very high.
Yes.
So why would you burn a bridge over something like this? I mean, there's a lot of emotions in our business. And granted, you want to give your client the best offer, but you also want to give yourself the best opportunity to be successful. So you're nice to everybody. You're just, we're in a sales industry, and you don't catch bees with vinegar. You catch them with honey. Did I say that right?
It ended well. I don't know.
All right. I was all over, but I connected the dots at the end.
The target, you went.
Yeah. So yeah, I just don't understand when people are rude in this business. I mean, you have to reciprocate the energy you're getting, and you had every right to come back at her, but just to come off like that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't understand.
I just let it go, but I have that text saved, so I'll remember. I'll remember who it is.
What's so funny is the next time, when you get that text where she's very nice and wants to know about, is this house available? Just screenshot that text and send it back.
Right.
Remember this?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Well, what's funny is I do have some adverse relationships with agents.
You, Eric?
Yeah, I do.
Get out of here.
Yeah, there's a couple of agents that we don't get along. To the point where if I have to make an appointment for their property, sometimes I'll make someone else make the appointment.
Get out.
No,
really?
I'll make an appointment. Absolutely. Uh-huh. But if I need information, I'll have a colleague call on it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because I feel like you get along with everyone. So I know it's them and not you. I don't even have to know the situation. It's definitely them and not you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hello.
And I'll real quick. It was a rent back situation where the house was trash when we did our final walkthrough. And I called him out on it, kept the deposit, fixed the issues from that deposit money, and they fought me the whole time. They said, "Oh, you're making that up. The house isn't bad." And it was garbage. It was so bad that this agent was there trying to clean up while we were doing our final walkthrough. And there were holes in the wall. It wasn't broom swept. And yeah, I mean, it still bothers me to this day. And you know who you are if you're watching this. I'm not going to say you know who you are.
Listen, I've had to call the cleaners in and the haulers in as a listing agent for clients that didn't fulfill what they were supposed to fulfill. And I paid for it out of my own pocket because, you have to turn it over the way you're contractually supposed to turn it over. That's
what I didn't get. I mean, we're not asking you to step out of the norm here. It's just do what you're supposed to do. And they didn't do it. And then she gave us a hard time. I even said she. I wasn't going to gender the person, but now they really know who they are. They know exactly who you are.
I think there are a lot of, female agents in for some reason. I don't know.
In your estimation, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who makes a better agent, a man or a woman?
Oh, no, I don't know about that, Eric.
I know. That's an unanswerable question, isn't it?
That's not a fair question. I don't think it has anything to do with gender. I think it has to do with just the person individually. I mean, I've worked with some really like overconfident, seemingly on the phone, like the way they would talk, mansplaining men that just like I can just visualize what they look like, right? Like this slick whatever. And then you go and you realize they've done like no transactions. They don't know what they're talking about. They have errors all over their contracts. You have to guide them through every step of the way. But on the phone, they sounded the game, right? They played the game.
Yeah.
I've on the opposite, I've spoken to women on the phone that are just very soft and gentle and just kind of like unsure sounding almost. And like you don't know if they're new. And you look them up and they've been doing this 20 years and they have a ton of experience in sales. And it's like part of their ploy, their game, I think, like to sound unassuming,
They play that nature versus nurture.
Yeah, they play this like really like I don't know, like, oh, I think, do you think we could do that? Do you think that makes sense? And then we agree on the sales contract and it's like all good. And you think, and then you get to the home inspection and then they're like bulldogs. Oh, I get so upset by that. I got tricked. I'm like, I thought you were nice. So
I respect that though. I think that's cool. The other side though, that confident or what's the phrase? All hat, no cattle. That pisses me off. I can't. I hate that when people just talk that game, and when you ask them to do something or make a correction and you realize that they have no clue what's going on.
They don't know. Yeah.
Come on, people, get it.
They miss deadlines and you're like wondering if they're doing it on purpose. And then you just realize like they didn't know that was a deadline. They didn't know. And
you know what? Did I share with you that one that was a judgment, a court judgment? I probably shared it. My clients had written on a house in Oakton, Virginia, that had been on the market for quite a while, the better part of a year. And when we wrote on it, the agent told me that they were in the process of getting a judgment from the courts to remove one of the parties from the contract, one of the selling parties, right? And from the start, I kept thinking, I don't think this guy knows what he's doing. Talking about the listing agent.
Right.
And maybe I've given too much detail, but I'll pass it. Anyway, I didn't get a good feeling about how he was handling the process. And it was like, well, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't do it this way. And he kept talking about how he's got, he got the courts involved and he's going to get these people off of it. And I was asking questions like, well, how long has this person been incommunicado, and what efforts have you made to get in contact with them? And why are you so confident that the judge is going to, rule in your favor? Oh, we got this. We got everything handled. Well, long story short, the judge ruled against them, fired the listing side, and appointed a commissioner of sale. So someone appointed by the court to take over the whole process. And this guy basically fired himself because he didn't have his ducks in. He didn't know he was all hat, no cattle.
Right.
He knew he knew what he was doing was right, and turned out, no, it wasn't. You did it all wrong. And unfortunately, I think you run into that more in our industry than the people who really get it. Right. And I think it's all a byproduct of training. There's not enough training out there for people. And a lot of these agents are forced to learn on the job. And that's not the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, the amount of training we give our agents is just so far superior. When I was being trained, I was told, and I didn't believe it at first, but now I 100% do, that, after 3 months of training or 6 months of training, you'll have more experience than some people have been doing it for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of like, especially in managing the contract, right? The actual, because there's a lot to knowing and understanding how to manage the contract. And sure enough, I'd see it. The fact that people would submit offers on properties I was selling, and I'd have to spend half my time correcting errors and just like check marks in the wrong spot, double checking things that like contradicted each other and forget, and I'm just like, wow. I was astounded. And really it's because getting your license for real estate, you need to take a class, you study, you take tests, if that's one thing, but that doesn't actually prepare you and teach you how to manage contracts and sell or buy, represent buyers. You don't learn that from the test. You have to actually have a mentor and learn from someone who's experienced. And sometimes people aren't willing to do that for you because not everyone has a team. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I've always been a big proponent of teams. A lot of people have asked me, why am I on a team? Why am I still on a team? And it's because of the support. I would not be as successful as I am right now if I didn't have that training from the start. I had a sales background and a marketing background, but this is so nuanced and different than any type of sales I've ever done in the past. If I didn't have those people who were literally holding my hand through the process. And yeah, like you said, it's one thing to take the tests and take the classes, but to really know what's important, to really know what you have to look for and what you have to avoid, and what is necessary to be successful, you have to learn that from someone else. You have to have that mentor who's going to navigate. And when you're doing it by yourself, the only way you learn is by making huge mistakes. Mm-hmm. And then you're not really representing your clients in the best way possible. I feel bad for those clients that have to deal with those type of mistakes from someone who just doesn't have the ability to know how to navigate that stuff. It's sad.
It's sad and it's scary. I mean, that's for a lot of people, your home is your number one asset. But that's your number one financial asset for a lot of people. So you're going to hire someone who just is a great talker and convinces you to use them when they don't know what they're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like at least know that they have a partner that knows what they're doing.
Well, that's just it too. Look, there's a certain amount of fake it till you make it, right? When you're starting, right? But when you're on a team and you're faking it, at least you can pick up the phone, or you can, hand this to someone and say, here, take a look at this and tell me if I did it right.
Right.
Exactly. And your clients are being represented. You're being represented by this team. But when you just got that person who just graduated and they've got one sale under their belt and that was their mom, are you getting the best representation?
No. And we've all been newbies, but I feel so much better knowing I had a good support system behind me. So,
someone's walking by wondering if I'm Jen, and I'm like, no, I'm not Jen. Like, I know I look like Jen.
You want to be on a podcast?
You could bring them in.
Guest stars. So, okay, little pop culture for you.
Please.
Okay, have you seen new show that just came on? The Accused. Have you heard about it? It just aired the other day on Sunday. After
so you've had COVID, so you've been binge watching.
I've been watching TV the whole time. Okay, so it's a brand new show. It has had 2 episodes so far. The first episode aired after the last playoff game, Sunday. I guess it was Sunday. Right?
I'm looking it up.
Okay, The Accused.
Who's in it?
Well, this is the thing. Every episode is kind of a standalone episode.
Oh yes, it's an anthology.
Yes, it's really cool because. And it's all kind of like a court case. And then you're seeing the behind the scenes of it. And they're actually really good actors that they have to do this. But so we took a chance on the first one and we were watching it after the playoff game. And we didn't know that it was all standalone episodes, right? And it was really an intense episode. Like it was so intense. I don't want to give too much away, but, their son is troubled and he's in the court case and you don't know at first why he's being he's on trial to see if there's enough evidence to charge him with this crime that his
grand jury
crime. Right. So, but you don't know at first what the crime was. It kind of plays along the whole thing. And so at the end, we were so hooked. We were like, this is our new show. We love this. This is amazing. What a crazy topic for a show. And it was just so intense and kind of graphic a little bit. And we're like, wow, this is on like a regular, network channel. And then we found out that because it started after the playoff game, they actually cut the last 4 minutes of the episode off because it actually did come to a conclusion. We didn't know it didn't come to a conclusion because when we watched the second episode, it was a totally different story. And we're like, wait, how does it connect to the first one? When were they going back to those characters? And we were just so lost. And then we looked it up and we were like, oh, man. And so then we actually Googled YouTube to watch the last 4 minutes. That's how invested we were in that show. We were like, this is crazy.
So you don't even know how it ended. That is great.
Now you do. Watched it on YouTube, but I couldn't believe they did that to us.
That's hilarious.
First of all,
happened to us the other night. And I know the show you're talking about. I want to see it because there are some great actors in it. I think the guy from The Shield, Michael Chiklis.
Yes, he's the one in the first episode. Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch that. The other night we're watching that Jack Ryan on Amazon, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you know how all the streaming services work. My kids all have it. My mother-in-law has access to, and I'm probably going to get, Amazon's probably going to cancel me now because I'm telling you, everybody's using my code. Sorry, Amazon. Anyway, we go start episode 4, and it was like, it felt like it was in the middle of the episode. We were like, wow, this is a weird way to start this show. They're just like starting, and he's already like silk, like being all clandestine around this car, trying to hide in the shadows. And we're both sitting there looking at each other, my wife and I, and we're going like, ooh, I wonder what happened. What happened? Why are they starting? This is so like weird and neat that they're starting like this. Well, it turns out someone had watched 45 minutes of the episode. And we were 45 minutes in, and it took us 10 minutes to figure that out. So yeah, I mean, I could imagine you were pretty confused. But now that they're streaming, you can go back and you can go watch the whole thing over again.
Well, no, we did. We went on our Hulu account and we were like, wait. We clicked on the episode after we watched the second episode, and then we looked and we said it wraps it up every episode. We're like, but they didn't wrap it up. So then we're Googling and we realized a lot of people were upset that it got cut off that night. So I went to Hulu, I clicked it, we fast forwarded to the end, and it was cut off on the Hulu streaming. It was cut off there too. Yes. So then that's why we had to Google the YouTube and then watch the last 4 minutes. And it was on, someone shared it on YouTube. So I was like, they better get their act together and update that streamed episode. Like, what is going on?
This is a class action lawsuit. You should sue somebody.
I was really upset.
Yes. I can tell in your voice. All right. Well, then talking about pop culture, you remember I was talking about everything, everywhere, all at once? Right?
Yes.
We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Well, it got nominated for 11 Oscars.
I got to watch it. I know. My husband, I actually mentioned it to him, and he's like, oh my gosh, that's the one with Data? And he was so excited. He's like, I saw his speech in the Golden Globes. It's amazing. I want to watch it. So now it is on our list. We'll get to it.
11 Oscars. It's the greatest movie ever made. It's better than Gone with the Wind. And a lot less racist.
Well, yeah. I hope so. Yeah. At this in 2023, I hope so.
That is it. Gone with the Wind is a great movie.
Yeah.
But incredibly racist. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't think a lot of things actually, if you rewatch it later, you're like, ooh, you know. I liked it then. I don't like it now.
I remember loving that movie and then watching it again, I think like 10 years ago, and thinking, wow, there's a lot of this movie's pretty problematic. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, there are a lot of shows, a lot of 80s shows like that too, about like gender and just, you know, a lot of that sexuality, and just you watch some of them now and you're like, ooh, yeah, that's not appropriate. That's not appropriate.
I was singing the theme song to the Dukes of Hazzard, and then I was like, oh, I really want to get all the words, and then I watched the trailer on YouTube, and I was like, okay, yeah, this show isn't appropriate anymore. No, we can't, there's nothing about this that's good. Nothing.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah, I can go down a whole list, but misogyny was even at the top of the list. So there. All right. Anyway. All right. Well, I think we have talked about everything.
Yeah.
Did we?
We're good.
Did we get the in between too?
I think so. We didn't even have a script. We just rolled with it. Hey.
I wanted some guests too. You know what I was really going to do since I was in Jen's desk was just like start pulling random things and reading them on camera.
I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know. What is that?
That's his stapler.
That's his
I think
stapler.
He's got a name on it. It's weird. He doesn't have his name on it though. You would think Jen would probably write his name on it, so no one would take it.
You got to put your name on it now. Just leave it there.
Oh, I should, right?
Put like little sticky notes on all of the stuff that says Eric belongs to Eric. When he comes, everything has your sticky note on it.
Oh, you know what? I love that idea. And next week we'll update and I'll have done that. Yes.
Okay, good.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging with us for another week. Look, if you like this and you like hanging out with us, please like and subscribe. Even if you don't like it, still give us 5 stars because why not? Right? 10 stars. Yes, do it twice. Please hit that little bell so anytime we do something new, you'll be notified. And come back next week for more fun with agents.
Real agents of change.
You know what?
Is that fun? Real agents of
real estate.
Yes. I can do it.
I give up.
We need the script.
I'm done. I'm done. Forget about it.
Thank you, Eric.
I had it right here too. I had the script right
Real
there.
Agents
you
of
can't see it.
fun. Right. I don't know. Whatever. We said it. It's fine. We need the producer to plug in the B-roll. We need to film with him. So
please do that. He looks totally dejected right now. Yeah. Good job.
All right. Until next time.
Okay, we're gonna do it again. No, let's do it again. Let's do it one more time. We can do it.
All right, go ahead.
And if he has to like produce this and act like it never happened.
Okay, do it again.
You want to take the lead or you want me to take the lead?
You do it because I don't have it in front of me.
Okay. So come back next week for Real Agents of Fun.
Real Agents of Change.
And Real Agents of Real Estate.
Yay!